Hey, so first and foremost, I'd like to, thank you for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah. So where are you guys located at? Where do you train at?
We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
That's where we live and train. Yep.
Yeah. How was the that whole time period where, it was the gyms were kind of iffy with the pandemic and everything? Were you able to, get to the gym, train, improve?
Luckily we did. My husband, who's also my trainer,
Mhm.
he knew a couple of people that we were able to go inside and work out still. So, we were very lucky that, because it's just so hard to lift the way we lift, doing it at home, but we were just lucky enough to know people that would let us in. So
Yeah. That's part of the problem. It's like you can kind of maintain at home with like basic things, but to improve is so difficult, especially when you're talking about your level, professional, like elite level of bodybuilding and fitness. It's very difficult to make those kind of improvements at home.
correct. Yes. With bands and stuff, it's just so hard. So yeah, we were very, very lucky in that case. So.
Yeah. So how did you get into training and fitness in general?
Well, years ago, I actually started, in school, I always played sports and everything. And then years ago, I started running marathons. So it was kind of the polar opposite of bodybuilding, but I got injured and wasn't able to do that. And so I was kind of looking for something to fill the void, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started one day in my living room and finally got up the courage to go to the gym. And it was kind of a funny story. I was searching people in Oklahoma that do bodybuilding, and I came across my husband, who's a trainer, and called him up and hired him as a trainer. And so it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
And 2.5 years later, we're married now, and we both bodybuild and do competitions. And so that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's amazing. You got a coach and a husband at once with
Yes,
one phone call.
Yes. And it's great to have someone that's interested in the same stuff and living the same lifestyle. So.
Yeah. That's so important. Like my wife and I also are like into fitness and training, and we have a lot of other common interests. And that's such a huge like deal when you're married, because it's very difficult. Not to say that people can't have, different interests, but it's like, it makes it so much of a closer bond when you can have like something that you do together, and with bodybuilding, it's such a niche thing. A lot of times, like it'll be just one person doing it in the relationship. So it gets kind of awkward because you'll have one person like dieting for a competition and they're like cranky, the calories are low, and it's like nobody, and like unless you have someone else that's kind of like knows that process, it becomes kind of difficult, so you guys, I guess, don't have to worry about that.
No, we are on the same level. We completely understand the low carb crankiness. So.
Yeah. So do you guys like try to? I had somebody else on the podcast that their husband also competed and they tried to like do their competitions like around the same time. So do you guys do something similar, like where you compete around the same time, or that's not really something that you...
He's laughing right here next to me. No, actually we have kind of staggered it to where we're not competing at the same time, just so the person that's not competing can help focus on prepping food for the other person.
Right.
Because it's just so hard. And this is what we found to work for us the best. Like when he was doing a competition last year, I'd stay up late and prep all the food, and because I knew he was exhausted, and just take care of all the household stuff. And then now when I'm in prep, he helps with the household stuff and cooking and everything, and it just really helps, because I think if we were in prep together, it would just be, for us, it would be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
We've got a good system right now, so
nothing will get done. It's like who's gonna cook if everybody's too tired to cook?
Right, and cranky. I don't know if we might strangle each other a little bit. So
That's funny. So are you in prep right now currently?
I am. We're going to do the nationals in Orlando, December 18th.
Got it. Okay. So, that's coming up here and pretty soon. Are you, you're in the wellness division?
Wellness. Yeah, it's about 10 and a half weeks away,
Mhm.
just
So,
under 11, something like that.
yeah, I'm always interested. So with wellness being such a new division in IFBB, usually people that have competed in other divisions. So where did you like start?
Well, when I first started, we were going to do figure.
Mhm.
I kind of had my heart set on figure, and wellness was just starting when I was kind of starting bodybuilding. And so we were kind of looking at that, and Scott had mentioned, he's like, we should really, really look at this division because I'm built for it.
Right.
And, I was really resistant at first, but once I started doing more research on it, it just kind of fit.
Mhm.
And so, we kind of dove in, and we did the Arnold Amateur was my first show. And I love it. I love the division. It's very, I think it's really fit for a woman's body. And it just, I like wellness a lot.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's a great division.
You mentioned that you were initially resistant. What were what was the reason that you were resistant to it?
He's laughing at me again. I really love the figure division. And again, I like all the divisions. I follow a lot of bodybuilding. I like figure. It's just such a beautiful division. I think the all around, they work really hard. Just really hard workers in the gym. And again, everyone else is, but I just really like the look of figure. And so that's kind of what I had my heart set on. But again, after kind of looking at wellness and around the world of what wellness was like, I realized, it's such a, it's a beautiful division too. And it just really fit my body really well. So I'm glad we went with that way.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that is that wellness, while might be new in the US, it was huge in like other areas of the world. It's been around like forever in those places.
Yes.
So, and that's why you see some difference now where you have Americans that aren't like quite as developed in that division as others. And so, but I think over time, it's going to kind of equal out where, in America, it's going to become more popular because it's already like hugely popular in the US now. And it's just been here for a few years. Right. I think it's probably going to, I understand where you're coming from as far as figure, because I think that was the it division before wellness. But I think in a short while, you're going to see everything swing towards wellness. It just seems more something that people want to see of a woman to look like, is it them, if that makes any kind of sense?
It does. It makes complete sense. Yes. Just, I say fuller, but just like the glutes, the legs, everything like that. I completely agree. So,
yeah. And is that initially you said that you were kind of built towards that division? Do you have like naturally bigger legs? I know you said you were a runner. Usually, like as far as long distance, usually from what I see, they then generally don't have like the biggest legs. But in your case, is that the case? Is that what's going on?
I've always been built bottom heavy, I guess. And, I did basketball and short distance track in high school. And so when I ran marathons, it didn't really take away much from me. So I was kind of, already at an advantage, when I started doing this division, because it was still just fit for my body type. So.
Right. How do you train as far as like making improvements? I know that you said initially you're already kind of built for that. You probably make fast, rapid gains, but like, what is the style of training that you guys do? You and your husband, really?
So now that I'm doing wellness, because I was working a lot of upper body, I've really had to tone down on that because my upper body grows quickly too. So of course I do, legs, 4 or 5 days a week now, and glutes and everything. And, you know, I've been able to up my calories just to put on more muscle. And, you know, I still train or work out with him, you know, when he works out, but just when I do upper body with him, I just do it lighter. And, so, you know, it's really not a whole lot's changed, just more legs, more legs,
more leg
workouts,
days.
yes, more leg days, and more calories, you know, just to help grow. So
What is your nutrition looking like now that you're in prep? Do you keep like carbs in the entire way? Do you cut them out progressively?
no, I keep them in the entire way. Just for me and my body, I tend to get, you know, flat and just really quick. So we keep carbs just for, you know, the muscle and the energy. But I do a lot of fish, works well for my body. Unfortunately, I can't do any eggs. I have an intolerance to that, but fish, turkey, and like steak.
Yeah.
Pretty much until it gets closer. And then I try to go towards more fish towards the end when I'm getting leaner. So
yeah, that's my goal is to eat more fish. Like I really should, just from, you know, from the aspect of like nutrition, and then also like it's such a good like meat to have, you know, as far as like the omega fats and everything like that, stuff that you usually like don't get. You know, you can supplement, but I do feel like there is something that you get from eating the food itself that has those nutrition factors in it.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, with the Olympia coming up and everything like that, do you have like anybody that you're kind of rooting for in the wellness division, or anybody that you know think is going to win, or, you know, come in top 5?
You know, it's funny, just I really like everyone. I say this, I love everyone that qualified for the Olympia. So I don't really have a favorite. There are some girls that are in the Olympia that I competed against. So I guess I kind of have, you know, I'm kind of rooting for them. The Barbara, I think Cesar is her last name. Her and I were in Team Universe together. Okay. And she's such a sweet girl. But again, all of them, you know, I've followed all of them for so long and watched their stories and everything that, you know, I don't really have a favorite. I just think it's so neat that they're finally doing it in the Olympia. It's just a really cool thing. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a huge show. I love, I don't know if you got a chance to see last year's, but it was just, I watched it on pay-per-view, and it was an amazing production. It's like, I hope it just stays that way this year, because it was incredible last year, like legitimate, like you were watching a legitimate, you know, sport. It was awesome.
Yes, it is. I always love, you know, we were watching the Arnold yesterday, and I think, you know, bodybuilding, you know, has really come a long way, and it is, the Olympia is just something, it's a great event, and we really enjoy watching it. So
yeah. Do you so one of the things, I had Wendy Fertino on just recently, and we were discussing different topics. One of them was that, which comes up a lot in my podcast, is that there's a tendency for like bodybuilding, for all the divisions to continue to get bigger, and, you know, just bigger and bigger. You look at bikini now compared to bikini a few years ago. I mean, they look almost like figure girls a few years ago. So do you see that tendency? Have you noticed that?
I do. And actually, even you know, with wellness, just even the last few years, we've noticed that they're getting bigger. I mean, I say bigger, more muscular,
right.
While getting more conditioned. I think it's just the natural progression of it, you know, in each division, really. It's just who can put on more muscle, who can, you know, get the size while still staying, you know, conditioned. But yeah, I think it's happening even with wellness.
How are you, like, have you projected it like down the line? Like, how would you compensate for that? You know, some people say, oh, well, this is the way I'm going to look. I don't want to, you know, get any bigger, even if the division kind of dictates it. others, just do whatever it takes. Have you like thought about that, what that means for you personally, that all the divisions continuously get bigger, and with wellness being so new, it sounds like, that might even intensify for that particular division.
Yes. And actually, my style of training has changed. Scott has me, because we've seen it progress. So of course, I'm having to change my workouts, do legs more frequently, up my calories, lift heavier,
Right.
To kind of stay up with that if I want to continue, which I do, of course. I'm going for my pro card in December. And so, I have to adapt to how it's changing. And I like it. I like, how things are changing in the style of workouts and everything we're doing.
Got it. So you're not concerned, I guess you're not concerned that wellness might start, the criteria might start infringing on other divisions or anything like that. It is kind of unique in its own way, wellness, because it's kind of So what do you think about that?
I can see where there's always a concern where people feel the need to do certain things that aren't healthy to keep up with it. And they feel the pressure to do that. But I think there still are healthy ways to stay up with the top people in the world, and hopefully that's what our plan is to do it the best way and healthiest way possible. So.
Right. Well, there's also longevity in that, right? Like you can,
of course,
you can do it in an unhealthy way, and you could do well, but your longevity is going to suffer, and you want to be in this for the long haul, I assume, right?
Exactly. Yes. Of course, we want to live, happy long lives together, even when we're both, done competing but still bodybuilding. But we want to be able to do it, go in and lift every day, even in our 70s, and you know what I'm saying? So, but not be, our joints and everything be shot, but long, happy lives.
Yeah. It's, I believe Ronnie Coleman didn't he get a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Arnold? That was really nice to see, what an amazing individual, but it's also from the other side, seeing him with all the health problems that he's been having. It's just, you start thinking about, okay, well, how am I training? How, am I doing it the best way to have the longest, career in this? Have you thought about, do you have a cap of when you're gonna stop competing? I know you're just going for your pro card now, but are you saying, okay, I'm gonna compete for 10 years or 5 years, or are you just kind of playing it by ear?
Well, and again, I'm 37, and I didn't start bodybuilding until I was 35.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, late for a lot of people, most people. So no, I want to go as long as I possibly can. Like my husband, he just got out of the car. He's about to be 52, and he still competes.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
that's great.
Yes, it is. I love it. And so, and that's why, a lot of people say, oh, the masters division is easy because there aren't, many people that compete in it, or the competition's not as hard. I beg to differ. It's just as hard because, as you get older, we have issues to go that are against us, our joints and our health and everything. But, and kids, I have 2 kids. And that's not something that's bad, of course, but our bodies are different. But I want to go as long as possible, as long as my body will allow. I plan on going till, one day I just say, hey, I can't physically compete anymore. So
that makes sense. I know that you said your husband coaches you. Do you plan, or do you currently coach or train or give insight to others?
I do, and I haven't officially started training or anything, but I do help people because he has quite a full schedule, but a lot of the women will come to me that he trains, and ask for posing,
Mhm.
about my diet and to help them, with their diet, just, because of the results they've seen. And so
Sure.
I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I think as far as like the aspect of coaching, the posing part like is really taking off now, because you have people that are strictly focusing on teaching people how to pose, which I think is amazing, because part of it is getting your body to the right, to the right shape. But then the other part is being able to show it the right way. And I see so many people lose shows, or not place as well, I should say, just because they don't know how to like show it right, or and there's such little like tendencies or little aspects of it that make huge differences.
Yes, absolutely. And what's so funny about that is, of course, when I did my first show, it was March 2020, and oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, there's another call. But you know, again, wellness was so new here in the US that we hadn't really learned the posing, and the judges really hadn't said, exactly what they were looking for, because they didn't really know quite yet. And I always laugh when I go back and look at my posing from that show, just because I was kind of guessing.
Mhm.
And so it's all a learning experience. And yes, it helps so much now that they have people that are posing coaches, and
Yeah.
there's more of a set of criteria for what they want now. So it is really helpful that it's more clear.
Right. So with you, going to nationals in December, hopefully, and I'm sure you will, get your pro card. So what are the steps, after that? Are you going to try to hit a pro show like ASAP, or are you going to take off to try to build?
It just kind of depends on how, I'd like to hit a pro show as soon as possible. But it kind of depends on where we are, how we feel. I had competed in, sorry about that, in Pittsburgh to get my pro
Mhm.
card.
Yeah.
And I came up one spot short. And our plan had been, to compete in, I think it was Tahoe, which was right after. But we got COVID.
Oh no.
Yes, it was the night after the show we started feeling bad. So, it kind of depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
You just can never really tell until that moment. So
Yeah.
if I'm good and healthy and we feel like I'm on the right track, then we'll probably hit the next pro show that there is.
How is your recovery, your and your husband's from COVID?
Oh gosh, it was tough. We both got it the exact same time,
Mhm.
and it lasted about 4 weeks for us.
Mhm.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
There were some days that we just, couldn't get out of bed, and, couldn't eat.
Yeah.
It was really a struggle, but, we got through it, and hopefully don't have to go back down that road. So,
Yeah, and I mean, you got it. You said right after your show, is that correct? That hear it
mhm.
right? So you're already, depleted and probably dehydrated, and all like you've been dieting for so long, and then you get hit with this very harsh, virus. It's like you probably made it that much worse. That at
Yes.
least that, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. And I remember last year, I was talking to somebody who competed in the Olympia. I can't remember who it was now, but they said a lot of people got it at the Olympia last year. It's like, and it's hard to, deal with it when you're competing. It's an extra layer of an issue that you got to deal with. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like improvements, do you have like let me see the best way to put it. Usually I ask my guests, was like your best body part, and it's like, what's the one that you would like to improve the most?
Um, I think the one I probably need to improve the most, I would say, of course, is my glutes, because I'm blessed with really good hamstrings and, upper body and everything. But of course, the division, is all about glutes. And so that's something that I'm that's been a big thing I've been working on. So,
Yeah.
because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as like leg development there, outside of the glute area, is you're good with that? Like you think you're progressing well?
Yes. Yeah. Of course, I'm still working on my quads and size. But I think the main area, of course, would be glutes for me. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a new division. It's probably going to get some more changes as time goes on. So obviously, adjusting with it, and then just hard training and is extremely important. And you hit the ground running, right? You're started just as the division was coming into its own here, and so now you're poised on getting your pro card.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the
awesome.
goal.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, Amanda, it was great having you on the show. I know you got a busy schedule, today, so I appreciate your time. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, or even your husband for training and for nutrition advice, what would be the best way to contact you guys?
On Instagram, we both have an Instagram. And of course, ours, you can find him on mine and me on his. And so we post a lot of our stuff there, but that's definitely the best place to find us.
Awesome. And I'll link everything down at the bottom. So guys, if you're interested in getting into bodybuilding, or you just want to kind of reach out to get some advice, just click on the links below. But Amanda, again, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much for the time today.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.